Hey folks, Rich here at rcinformer.com. Thanks for checking out this build tip video. Today I'm talking about hinging ailerons, elevators, rudders, and so forth, particularly CA hinges. When hinging these things, most manufacturers, a lot of manufacturers nowadays, are having us to drill a hole down the center of the wing or where the hinge goes in, and that helps the CA get down into the hole and totally soak the hinge and make sure that the glue gets all the way down in there. What I've found that prevents the CA from going down in there is they cut this notch so thin and do a really good job at it that it's so tight against this hinge that when you put CA in there, the CA can't sometimes get past the Ultracoat covering that actually, and so the Ultracoat is actually preventing the glue from getting down in there, so they have you drill that hole. Instead of drilling the hole, that is a quick and easy way to do it, and there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But what I've found is a different way of doing it, where I actually take a knife and I actually cut away just a little bit of the covering material, and that way you don't need to drill a hole, and you get a nice thorough, a nice area, a nice trough where the glue will go right in with a micro dropper. I detail that in this building video, and there's more tips and things like this on rcinformer.com. Again, at the top there's a how-to section where you'll find all that. Anyway, on with the video. Hope you enjoy it. Here's your typical CA hinge and how it comes from the factory. It's usually already installed here in the wing. It's not glued in yet, but it's kind of put into place. They cut this little slot and they want you to drill a hole. They want you to remove all this. They want you to drill a hole down the center, put your CA hinge back in, reinstall this, and then once they're all in there, you go ahead and you put glue in there. Well, it is tough to get glue down that hole, down that slot, even with the hole drilled in there. So what I've found is a better way that helps you get the glue all the way down into the hole and helps you get the glue into the micro dropper and so forth down in there, is before you do any of that stuff and without drilling a hole in there, what I'll do is I'll just take an X-Acto knife or a razor knife and I'll cut away a little bit of the Ultracoat, because it's that Ultracoat leaning up against the CA hinge that keeps the glue from getting down in there. And you remove a little on this side, and the following series of videos here will show you how to do that. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where all these hinges are, and this is something that you can apply to every airplane. I usually make sure that I have the same distance, same gap right here and on this side of the aileron. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to mark right on the wing on both surfaces where, and it's hard to do this because I got the camera here, guys, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on both sides, okay, where the hinge is going to insert, and I'm going to do that on all four of these things. Okay, there's actually four in here. They did a nice job to put four instead of just three, but I'm going to mark all those so I do the same cut on all of them, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. Now I have all of these marked, and don't worry about the marks that you put on there with this actually a permanent marker, but those marks will all come off. You can just use a little alcohol and it'll take them right off. But now all four are marked, and I can make my cuts evenly on both surfaces. So let's take a look at how that's done. Okay, now what you're going to do is just remove the aileron from the wing, and you can see the wing down there. And you can see your two marks that you made, the red marks with the marker. What you're going to do is use a straight edge, usually like usually a metal ruler seems to work well, and a real sharp, probably a brand new number 11 hobby knife blade, and you're going to cut parallel, okay, to the slot from mark to mark, and you're going to do that about 1 millimeter away, okay, from the center of the slot. And you're not going to cut very deep because you just want to remove the covering. This is how it looks after I've made my cuts. Now I did this off camera because I really didn't want to cut myself, and it's hard to see while I'm filming this, but as you can see, I cleared away from the center of the slot about 1 millimeter top, millimeter bottom, and now the Ultracoat cannot act as a dam for the CA, and the CA can actually get right down in there now without being blocked at all. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, and we'll see what it looks like. Here's the finished product as you can see, I've removed a little bit of the covering from the aileron side and from the wing side. And what that does is, by removing just a little bit of that covering there, it will basically takes away the dam that keeps the glue from going in there. In the center of the hinge, you can see you really don't even need to drill a hole in there, because there's now a nice channel that it'll all go down in there, and you'll have a nice clean surface. Looking at the top, you can see it's really the same way, and you notice the cuts are nice and even, and that's the purpose of making the marks initially. So when you cut with your X-Acto knife, you have the slots that are right across from each other. Now when you glue it in, you actually have extra space to get your micro dropper tip in there, and the glue will easily wick down in there. Now you don't have to use this technique. This is a technique that I've developed over just years and years and years of modeling, and I prefer it to drilling a hole, straight down the center. I just found that this is always a cleaner approach. I get a lot of glue in there, and I get a real solid aileron, and I've never lost a surface by using this method. Last but not least, when you go to glue in the hinges with the CA, if at all possible, use a micro dropper tip. That really helps you get right in and put the glue exactly where it's supposed to be, so it doesn't run all over the place. In addition, some of the Ultracoat that we removed actually frees up the gap. You can see how thin the gap is over here. You can see right here you have a little more space to work with, and you get that micro dropper right in there and get the glue exactly where you want it. Okay folks, that concludes this video on installing CA hinges. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please check out rcinformer.com for more building tips like this one. Again, at the top there's a how-to section that shows this and a lot of other building tips. Please subscribe and stay tuned. There's more to come. Thanks for watching.